Hello, everybody. My name is Tenlin, and I've done something that might have been a mistake. Why did I do this? Oh, I don't know if you've seen one of my past videos, but I did 30,000 Levinsilk as a quick synth to be able to get a bunch of crafting materia, just doing spirit bonding via that. And I did that, I think, right before 7.1. just so I could get some materia to stock up before the new crafted gear came out. And I decided to one up myself on that one. And I did not realize how much time, skill, and effort would go into this project. And, we're just going to skip right into it. Here's the 100,000 Levinsilk that I ended up getting. A lot of this with help from one of my Discord members, Hellrider. So big shout outs to him for that. I think he provided about 80,000 of it. I purchased it, but he was essentially going through all of the servers on NA and grabbing every single Levinsilk that was under 200 gil on the market board. And then he would ping me in the Discord and it would go something like this. That helped me a lot. I ended up having to spend about 20 mil on all of this at the end of the day because I was just looking to have some fun doing. What I didn't realize is that it would take me about 18 hours of crafting. Luckily, it's press one button, wait a little over 5 minutes for 99 quick synths to happen, but then you have to do that until all 100,000 are gone, and that's a lot of time. It's about 5 to 6 minutes per craft of 99, and you have to do that over 200 times. So 200 times 5 minutes is 1,000 minutes divided by 60. It's 16.8 hours, and I'm not perfectly timing it, so it took me probably actually 20 hours to do this. Here's all the materia I got. We're just gonna skip straight forward to this so you can see. Here's the current value of everything, all of the materia that I used, and then obviously I had to use a ton of lightning crystals. I did most of those via retainer gathering. I think I did about 100,000 just gathering off of my retainers. So I did have to purchase a little bit, but I'm going to just factor in the cost because obviously I could have sold the lightning crystals on the market and make gil that way. So yeah, as you can see, I used 99,560 Levinsilk. That was just to make it an even number of spirit bonds, but I didn't quite get to 100,000 because I'd have to do a little bit more than 100,000 to actually be able to do a complete spirit bond, which then I ended up using 159,000 lightning crystals. And at the market prices, these are approximately what I ended up buying them for. This cost me a total of 26,300,000 gil for rounding purposes. And this is all of the materia that I earned from those spirit bonds. So I'll do some quick math here just to see. I ended up having a total of 2,111 materia. If you realize that each set of a bond gives you 12 materia, it was 176 times that I spirit bond in total. I don't know why the math is being a little weird here, but that's what my math is showing me. So I did 176 total set spirit bonds in order to get this. Now at the current prices, this is about 2 weeks before 7.3 comes out. These are the crystal prices, just approximations. So in total, I saved 22 million not having to buy this materia. So that is obviously a loss at the current prices, just if you're only counting the materia. Now, of course, the Thunderyard silk is something that you do have to take into account. And here's a quick little picture of all of the Thunderyard silk that I ended up crafting. Oh, there we go. Something wasn't right there. I had to fix that Thunderyard silk. So I had 20,000 Thunderyard silk that I crafted. 2,994 of it turned out to be high quality, and I had nearly 17,000 just standard quality. Now in here, I did put this at 4 gil a piece because that's what you can sell it directly to a vendor, just to kind of give myself an idea of how much I lost. because I really didn't expect this to be able to sell. But what I was surprised is I actually managed to sell all of the high quality Thunderyard silk already for 1,000 a piece. So I ended up making 3 mil off of that, which definitely helped me out. I'm only down 1 mil as of right now. I do plan on trying to sell a bunch of this Thunderyard silk on the market for somewhere between like 200 to 300. So if we do a little math here and we actually change that over to like, I don't know, 200, I technically would end up saving gil, making gil, however you want to look at it. And this gets a little complicated where there's not this much materia on the market for these prices, so it becomes a little bit harder to actually pick these up. These prices are probably a little bit higher at this point. If I want to buy this many of them, this is probably going to be like 7,000 to 10,000 a piece, because there just aren't that many listed on the market for this low of cost. But I went with a lower end just to kind of give myself an idea of like the worst case scenario. So overall, I am not upset about the results of this. I do think it took me way longer than I expected, but the alternative was I was going to be crafting collectibles, turning those in for scripts, and buying materia with scripts. And honestly, I find that even worse. It's a lot more time where you're just clicking on the vendor, giving them all the collectibles, walking over to the other vendor, opening up their menu, grabbing their materia, repeat, repeat, repeat. I think that I would probably not go this hard, because this ends up being probably more materia that I'm gonna actually need for my full pentamelded crafter set, but we'll actually see how that ends up. So if you just wanted the quick little insight into how this project actually went, you can click off. Now, if you want to get a better idea of how this works and what I did in order to do this, then let's kind of get into it. So let's talk about how spirit bonding works. Now, one of the things you have to understand, and it's honestly the most important thing to understand, is that crafting spirit bonding needs you to be using gear that is close to the item level of the craft you're trying to make. So what does that mean? Levinsilk, or in this case, Thunderyard silk, which is the crafted piece, is a level 98 craft, but all crafts have a hidden item level that is associated to what they are. So in this case, just like gear has its item level, like this is a item level 690 tool, Thunderyard silk also has that. It's just not displayed to you on your UI, but it matches around the item level of the required craft or any of the required crafts that it goes into. You can generally find some kind of information about this on like the Gamer Escape wiki or on Garland Tools, which is what I've used here, and it'll show you here that it has an item level of 680. So the way that spirit bonding works for crafting is the amount of item level difference between the gear and the craft that you're making affects how much spirit bond percentage you get. You want them to be as close as possible, or for the craft to be a higher item level than the gear, and that will give you more spirit bond per craft. If they're further away, you get less spirit bond. If the crafted item is lower, then you will get less spirit bond, to the point that if it's too low, you'll get none. So because of this, I'm using the full level 690 crafted set. I want to be able to get level 11 and 12 materia from doing the materia extraction, which requires that it's a level 100 piece of gear. So this is the lowest item level piece of gear that is available. So I did a full set of this in order to do that. And this is not the same gear that I would use for crafting everything else. This is my Everseeker gear. I just set up a new gear set that was just for spirit bonding, and that's what I ended up using here. Now, with crafting spirit bonding in particular, you can use everything to boost your spirit bonding as high as possible, unlike gathering, where gathering has a hard cap of a +5. So if you look at something like the superior spirit bond potions, the high quality ones, they give you a +6. For gathering, a hard cap of +5 is all that's applied to be able to boost your spirit bond. But with crafting, that does not apply. So I'm going to use everything I can to boost my spirit bonding. So what does that mean? Well, first off, every single piece of gear is fully pentamelded because each piece of materia in a gear gives you plus 20% faster spirit bonding speed. And I'm using all high quality gear because a high quality piece of gear also gives you plus 20% spirit bond speed. That 20% is an approximation, and I found from this experiment that it's not exactly 20%. It gets a little weird, but I'm not going to really get into all of the math of spirit bonding here. Just call it 20% for the ease of use. So even here, you'll see I have all spell speed materia in my needle here, but this doesn't matter. The game doesn't care what type of materia it is. It just has to have a materia to make it spirit bond faster. That'll be your first step, getting all of the gear fully materia'd. Next, you want to use a superior spirit bond potion, high quality, for that +6 boost. And then you could also use a food called a better crowned pie. Now this gives you +2 spirit bond, so it's not a lot, but it is helpful when you're trying to do something like this. This is the difference between crafting 114 Thunderyard silks versus like 117 or 18 to get a full spirit bond set. It's barely a little, but when you're comparing it to doing 20,000 crafts, it adds up very quickly. That's the 2 consumables that you need. And then of course you want to have a that which binds us level 3, which I don't have here to show you because I did end up using them, but a level 3 or a squadron manual, which I don't have any because I don't do my squadrons. I generally just use my FC buffs instead, but that will also give you a +3 spirit bond boost. And you can use either of these. I use the that which binds us 3 because it's a 24-hour buff. I ended up doing like 3 8-hour days of crafting, which essentially was 3 full-time days of just being able to sit there and press quick synthesis over and over on Thunderyard silks. Again, maybe not the smartest thing I've ever done, but it ended up working out all right, I think. But that's everything that you'll need to use. It's really not that complicated in order to do so. You can do this pretty easily, and honestly, the amount of materia that you get for it, for the amount of effort that you put into it, is really not that bad. But I don't know that I would do it on this scale again, unless this video happens to get to 1,000 likes, and then maybe in 8.0 I'll do another video where I do an entire inventory and maybe a little bit more. Let's call it 200,000 for my next trip, if this video gets to 1,000 likes. I know this video really didn't kind of cover exactly everything that you need to know, but it was more of just an experiment for myself, and I wanted to kind of document how this ended up turning out because I had a bunch of people in my Discord that helped me get a bunch of this Levinsilk, and we're keeping an eye on how this worked. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, of course. And if you want to help me out a little bit more, you can become a member on my channel for only $1 a month. And that just gets you access to some of my videos a little bit early and just kind of shows me your support. I do appreciate it, and I hope you guys are ready for 7.3, which should be dropping early August. My guess is on August 5th, but we'll see in the live letter that'll be coming out this Thursday, which by the time this video comes out, it might be already past that. So I'll let you know down in the description. Thank you very much, and have a good one.